Yo, 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 mga kabayo, what's up, and welcome to Inay. Thank you, our time and space to learn life lessons from lessons about life. Last episode, we left off with the glaring question of,
di ano na lang kakainin ko?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like wala na tayong pwedeng kainin kasi halos lahat naman ng kinakain natin ngayon galing na sa pabrika, di ba? But actually, meron naman. There's always a solution. I'll give you the quick answer, but you could stick around to the end of the video if you want to learn a few more tips. But before that, quick disclaimer muna. Again, pakibasa na lang po sa baba. Quick answer, just eat the opposite of what I said. So kung last time sinabi natin na huwag tayong kakain ng ultra-processed foods, ano ba yung opposite ng ultra-processed foods? E di minimally processed or whole foods. Simply put, just try to eat the food as close to its natural source as possible. There's a whole smorgasbord of diets to choose from. What exactly should I be eating? Kung hindi kayo yung mga mahilig sa mag-diet, you might want to take the scientific approach and say, well, what am I? An herbivore, carnivore, or an omnivore? The whole act of eating can be broken down into several steps. Wala ka namang makakain kung hindi mo mahanap yung kinakain mo, di ba? Out of all the 5 senses that we have, as human beings, which sense do we use the most to find and to recognize food? And if you still don't know the answer, I'm sorry, they're just not getting any bigger. I'm Chinese. I'm trying. Just look at how food as advertisements are made. Diba? Meron ka ba nakikitang advertisement na parang amuyin mo yung menu? We don't go, uy, asan yung pagkain? That's not how we normally find and recognize food. How are our eyes built? We can pick up the colors red, green, and blue. That means we have trichromatic vision. Why would you need that if the only thing that you're eating is either color green or color dirt? Color green being grass or leaves, or color dirt if we're referring to the fur of most animals. You don't really need to have a wide range of color recognition software in your eyes. Pero ano nga ba yung mga bagay sa nature na medyo makulay? Prutas. We have the tools to recognize colorful kinds of foods. Now that we've recognized the food, how do we actually get the food? Diyan na po pumapasok ang ating mga kamay, ang ating mga muscles. How are these hands designed? We seem to have fairly long fingers and opposable thumbs. They're pretty good at grasping stuff, picking stuff up. They're designed for dexterity. We have a good mix of both slow and fast twitch muscle fibers. Slow twitch fibers are designed for endurance. That means kaya nating maglakad ng matagalan. We also have a good amount of fast twitch fibers, which means we can also do quick bursts of speed. How might we use these tools to our advantage? If we are meant to endure long distances and we're meant to grasp and pick up stuff, the act of actually eating, devouring the food, what do we use? The way that our teeth look can tell us a lot about our diet. If we look at the jaws, human jaws can move side to side. Our teeth are fairly broad and flat. We don't really have pointy canines, nor do we have pointy incisors. They're very flat and wedge-like. What kind of food do you think that is best suited for? There's a lot more you can examine in your anatomy. If we compare and combine that with what they've found in fossil records, our physiology, the enzymes that are involved in the digestion of food, how our brains have evolved through time as our diets changed, it seems that we're omnivores, leaning more towards herbivory. Much like our great ape relatives. They mostly eat plants, but sometimes they do eat meat. If we're going to argue that we should be eating food according to our design, then why isn't a panda eating meat? That's because in nature, of course, there are exceptions to the rules. We can be exceptions in that we're really exceptionally smart.
We have technology!
And what's more important is that we're able to use what we have in order to adapt to what the environment throws at us. That being said, won't we just evolve to get used to eating ultra-processed foods, to eating factory foods, industrialized foods? Yes, that can happen if we don't kill ourselves first in the process. The thing with evolution is that it's really very, very slow. We are creating these changes in our food environment, in the way that we eat and consume food, way faster than our bodies can adapt. It's just a matter of, yeah, who gets there first? Do we evolve first, or do we die first? We're gonna kill ourselves first. And we see that now in many populations across the globe. Diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, a lot of these diseases are diseases of the lifestyle, of the way that we consume food. And at this rate that we're introducing these changes too quickly, we're gonna die. We're all probably gonna die before we give birth to a generation of people who can withstand microplastic-filled, toxic, chemical, pesticide-filled food. Hopefully, now you have enough information to make an informed decision about what exactly you should be eating. Personally, based on the evidence that I found and the research that I found, mas maraming gulay at prutas kaysa sa karne. I don't think I've heard any health advice that tells you to eat more vegetables and then merong namatay. So how do you make sure that your food is as close to whole or minimally processed as possible? Chew the food yourself if you can. Huwag mo na siyang idaan sa blender. Don't turn it into some smoothie. People who eat liquefied food, they are either babies or old people. For the same reason, babies don't have teeth, old people don't have teeth. If you have teeth, even a fake set of teeth, kung meron kang pustiso, chew your food. The thing is, we have muscles and they get tired of chewing. So that means that you're not going to chew your food that long. Our teeth, they wear down, they're not as efficient as machines. When you swallow the food, there are still bits and pieces that have not been thoroughly chewed and not thoroughly digested, and that's completely fine. That's actually what prevents, like super spikes in blood sugars. Because if our digestion were meant to be completely efficient, sana parang blender na lang yung bibig natin, but no!
No!
Don't overcook your food. If it's safe to eat your food raw, then eat it raw. Cooking exists mainly to kill off harmful pathogens, foodborne microbes or pathogens. Siyempre, ayaw nating ma-food poisoning, ayaw nating magkasakit. Pwede kasing nanggaling sa maduming lugar yung pagkain, pero pag niluto mo, malilinis mo yun kasi mamamatay yung mikrobyo. When you cook something, especially for plants, you destroy plant cells, and so you release a lot more of the sugars, also a lot more of the nutrients. And also, cooking deactivates certain poisons. For example, if you have cassava, kamoting kahoy or balinghoy, when you boil that thing, you deactivate the cyanide. If you don't do that and you eat that, then you could probably die. However, cooking your food, that's like a nuclear bomb. Walang pinipili. So kung patay yung bad bacteria, patay din yung good bacteria dahil kaluluto mo ng pagkain. Cooking or applying heat will also destroy certain nutrients. You kind of want to have the best of both worlds. You don't want to get sick from the food that you're eating, but at the same time, you don't want to completely destroy everything that's beneficial from your food. So as much as possible, if you have to cook your food, just don't overcook it. Eat a wide variety of foods. Different food sources have different vitamin and mineral profile. What you get from a carrot, you might not get from a cucumber, you might not get from a tomato, you might not get from squash. So
Mga ayaw na nga palaya dyan, aba, simulan na ninyo, o yung mga okra kasi slimy daw.
Final tip for you is don't give your diet a name. Don't give it a label. Do not define it. When life began on Earth, bacteria didn't say, what are you eating? Oh, I'm on an anaerobic diet. Oh, I'm on an aerobic diet. No, they didn't do that. When humans came into the picture, we started putting names on stuff to organize the world in a way that we can understand. The caveat for that is that, because there's a certain definition, now it comes with a certain restriction. There's really no super strict defined diet that works for each and every human being. You have to find the one that works for you. Not for him or for her or for anyone else, but for you. And that is a journey. But I think overall, if we have to look at all of these people in general, most people are healthier when they eat foods that have not been engineered and ultra-processed and churned out of factories. Keto, paleo, lahat man yan. Tignan nyo lahat ng diet. Halos lahat ng nire-recommend nila. Makikita nyo yung pagkain is as close to the original source as possible. Whole, minimally processed food. I think you can see that across the board in most studies and even most observations. The whole thing about trying to make our lives better and improve our lives, it really is a commitment. Not just a commitment to yourself because you want to be sexy. You have people who depend on you and love you, then you owe it to them to take care of yourself. I don't think it's a good idea to just do whatever the fuck you want to your body and then expect other people to take care of you. If you really love the people around you, then you would care enough for yourself not to be a burden for them. If you're on a crappy diet, then improving your diet by incorporating more whole and minimally processed foods, you might have a better quality of life, not just for yourself, but for the people you love as well. O paano naman kayo mga kabayo, what life lessons have you learned today? Iwan nyo lang sa comment sa baba. And if there's anything else you'd like me to discuss, then please leave it in the comments. Or if there's anything else I missed, go ahead. Just share your thoughts in the comments. We're all here to learn from each other, so it's really nice if you could just let the whole world know what you think. Kung may sinabi akong mali, feel free to correct me down below as well. And if you want to know more about health and nutrition, I would recommend you go ahead and watch these videos right here. Kita-kits mga bagits! Inay! Thank you.